Here's Gant with the white flags. One more lap to go for 51-year-old Harry Gantt and his 4th consecutive Winston Cup win. We have seen history made here this afternoon, and what Harry has done.
The 1991 NASCAR Cup season was a bit unusual. Dale Earnhardt's crew chief at the time, Kirk Bodine, stated it felt like a season where no one wanted to win the championship. After 1990, where Dale Earnhardt won a lot and Mark Martin was consistent a lot, everyone expected the same in 1991. But this time, it would be Mark Martin coming out on top. No 46-point penalty would stop him this time. It never happened. As Mark Martin struggled all year, he did not win until the final race of the season. The championship would be won by Dale Earnhardt, but not in the dominant fashion of his previous championships. The points battle was close all season, but there was no big 1 or 2 or even big 3. No one really dominated 1991 with 14 different winners. The season would also be marred by the death of J.D. McDuffie during the race at Watkins Glen. Now, when I think of 1991, the first thought that comes to my mind is Harry Gantt, the man who had as many nicknames as he had wins in 1991. The Bandit, High Groove Harry, Hard Luck Harry, because he finished second 10 times before winning his first race. This would continue throughout his career with many second-place finishes. Handsome Harry for his Hollywood good looks, and Mr. September after winning 4 races in a row during September of the 1991 season. You may say, whoa, Benjamin, 4 in a row was not that uncommon, especially during the modern era. Cale Yarborough did it in 1976, Darrell Waltrip in 1981, Dale Earnhardt in 1987, the aforementioned Harry Gantt in 1991, Bill Elliott in 1992, Mark Martin in 1993, Jeff Gordon in 1998, and Jimmy Johnson in 2007. If you want to go back to before the modern era, how about the 10 in a row club? That's right, 10 races in a row. It's not really a club, it's just one driver. Richard Petty won 10 in a row in 1967. What do you think happened on that 11th race where he didn't win? He came in the pits and they're like, hey, what happened? The King's like, I can't win them all, can I? So what was so special about 1991 and Harry Gantt winning 4 in a row? He was 51 years old at the time.
Hey, I guess they're right. Senior citizens, although slow and dangerous behind the wheel, can still serve a purpose.
I'll be right back. Don't you go dying on me.
In 1991, I thought, Harry Gantt's 51? Good grief, that is old. I mean, he's as old as Methuselah. In 2023, I think, you know what? 51's not that old. You know how they say never? Well, I'm saying never again will we see a 51-year-old driver win a race in the NASCAR Cup Series, much less 4 in a row. Whenever a driver reels off several wins in a row, everyone's first thought is, what have they figured out? Is it legal? And if so, can we duplicate it? Even if it's not legal, can we duplicate it and get away with it like they are? It would come out later that the 33 car had found a way to camber the rear end housing. That was a narrative for many years, but now it turns out there was so much more to that 4 in a row car than initially thought. As Bill Elliott used to say when he was cranking out 11 wins in a season and everybody wondered why his car was so good, it's a combination of things. That's my best Bill Elliott impression. I'll let Andy Petrie, the crew chief for Harry Gantt and a 33 car, explain why this particular car was so special.
Harry Gantt. So you've been around Harry for a while, since the early 80s.
Actually, I've been exposed to Harry Gantt back in the 70s. When I first started going to Hickory, he was racing there, and he was actually a hero of mine. He's the coolest guy on the track and winning races.
How did you end up crew chiefing for him?
Well, like I said, I worked on Benny's Cup team, and Leo Jackson was, the crew chief, then the owner of that car. And then in '89 is when we kind of split that up. With the 55 became Richard Jackson's team, and then we formed this new team that was, Leo Jackson Motorsports in Asheville for Harry Gantt.
Build a team.
Yep. So we built a team up there. We ended up that first year, we ended up designing our own front clip.
Why did you want to build the clip?
Because Harry Gantt liked these rear steer cars, right? Mm-hmm. But rear steer cars were so out of favor because there's just so many things wrong with that. And once we moved the steering box in front, it was a good car. That's the suspension and snout that we ran when we won 4 in a row.
I always knew about the cambered housing. I didn't know any of the other things that you showed us about that car as far as that front suspension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's like a half of the race car that y'all really reinvented.
We did, yeah. You know, and Leo Jackson was super smart. With his engineering and machining capabilities, or like I said, he had a machine shop that was in front of our race shop to make everything we needed. You know, we just built it, and we didn't have any real engineering help, but we were able to make it work.
That's what I was wondering, is that this is well before the, engineering boom of NASCAR. And so, like, I'm just curious, where are these ideas seated at, right? Like, and what is the flow of information?
That wasn't that far-fetched. I mean, like you said, the rear steer suspension, as far as the geometry, was pretty well established, right? That's what most Cup cars were up until the Mike Laughlin type front steer cars came along. And all you're really doing is just moving the steering box ahead. And it was kind of a logical thing, even though it took a complete rebuild to make it that way. But
cambered housings, towed housings, how's the conversation start?
That radial tire, we were running kind of the same. We just put the tires on and go run the same setups. We don't have any tire data like they have now. There's so much data that the crew chiefs and engineers have, and it's generated. You know exactly where to put the toes and the cambers. We didn't have any of that, and so we're just kind of going from history, which was we were on 3.5 over here, 3.5, 3 here.
On the front.
On the front. This is front cambers. Well, then the tire engineers were trying to give us a little bit of, hey man, you ought to try a little more camber in those front tires. So it's their fault everybody started running more camber. They're the first ones to say something about it. And so we tried, and gosh, it really reacted to it. I mean, it really reacted to camber. It was crazy because a bi-spot tire was kind of numb to it. You could put a little more camber, it might be a little, but this thing, you put a little bit, boom, it was good. And so we go to Richmond. We finally got the front cambers kind of figured out, but we come back from the Richmond race, and we used to have to dismount all of our tires we ran in the race, unlike today where they just throw them in a hauler and somebody else does it all. But I'd always go out there on Mondays and look at all the tires that came off the car to just see, make sure we're trying to get the maximum out of the car. If you're wearing the right rears too much over the, you're trying to look at all that. Well, I start looking, we're killing the outside edge of the right rear tire. It's wearing twice as much as the inside. And it's kind of the same thing on the left. And so I'm like, dang, that camber deal would work if we could get some camber in this rear end. And so I go to Leo Jackson, and I said, what do you think about this? All right, he said, I don't know how you get that axle to work. It's all this stuff designed to run straight. I said, I got an idea. I said, if you'll help me with it. I said, I'm going to crown this. I'm going to put that axle in the lathe, and I'm going to put like a little ball on it. Why don't you do that? Because I was going to do it myself, but I didn't have the right tooling. Didn't really know. He said, let me do that part. So he goes and does that, brings it back to me, but it still won't go in the drive plate because the root of the spline needed to be the same way. So I put it in the lathe, and I just I literally took a Ziz wheel on an air hose. I went down in that root all the way around those splines of that axle and made it kind of ball shaped, stuck it, got it where it would actually fit in the car. This is after we cambered. We actually bent the housing like a half a degree maybe the first time. No more than that. No more than about 1 anyway. Because that's all it really wanted to give up. You're trying to bend this housing. Good. Then we try to make these axles fit. We finally make them fit, and we take it to a couple of races. It didn't just start off. We didn't start winning right when we did it.
Right.
It was kind of an evolution. Then we ended up putting a little more and trying to get a little more, get a little better at it. And put grease, make sure they could live, and we just kept sneaking up on it until the 91, 4 in a row. By that time, we had gotten it pretty mature.
But the combination of that, the front end, and a few other things really gave that car
the biggest thing,
competitive advantage.
The biggest thing is the engine.
What about the motor?
People don't really know much about the engine. At that time, like I said, we'd worked all these cambers out. We'd already made a lot of headway on some things. We found out that we were behind on our engine stuff. That there was a loophole in the rules. There was a 22-degree angle or 23-degree angle rule for the cylinder heads. Mm-hmm. Well, they had teams that were welding up the heads and then just basically rolling them. And it was kind of a loophole. And we were way behind the curve. We didn't realize it because we're up in Asheville and we're not kind of in the mainstream, but somehow it gets to us that we're behind on it. Well, our guys go to work, and like I said, Leo Jackson is one of the best. And they do it right. It took 200 hours of welding, though, on those heads to make them. And then you remachine them, reshot paint them, reheat treat, all this stuff. Well, that engine, that race at Darlington was the first race we showed up with that motor. So, to me, that's what sent us over the edge.
In half a lap, Gant will move into sole possession of 29th on the all-time win list. 2 wins behind Marvin Pass, 3 behind Curtis Turner, and Neil Bond. Right flag. Turn 3. Goal band at all. Leo Jackson and Precision Products team Andy Petrie and the crew. Checkered flag. Harry Gantt has won 3 in a row. 4 wins this season. His best year ever in Winston Cup racing. His 15th career victory.
And now we arrive at Martinsville, the 4 and 4 in a row.
For over 50 years, these railroad tracks, first the Norfolk Western, now the Norfolk Southern, have been transporting goods from the southeast part of the country to other parts of the nation. You can almost feel the history associated with these tracks. At the same time, there's a piece of real estate about 25 feet from these railroad tracks that also represents another part of Americana.
Here's a fella everyone's talking about. 3 Winston Cup victories in a row, Harry Gantt. Hey, Harry, I got my uniform. Can I drive?
If the seatbelt will reach around you.
What do you mean if the seatbelt reach? I used to drive this car, you know.
You don't think you've eaten too many tomato sandwiches since then.
Well, what about now?
Hey, wait a minute, fellas. I can get in my uniform here. I'd like to get in this thing here. I'm still in my 50s, and I believe I could drive this thing.
Okay. I'll watch it today.
I tell you, I think it'd be fun. Wait a look.
Pardon me, fellas. Harry, I understand this here's a fountain of youth. I wonder if I could take a couple out with you.
Hey, I was your first. Get out of here. I was your first. Get out of here.
Let's take a look now at the Die-Hard starting lineup for today's race. The pole position belongs to Mark Martin, his 3rd in a row here at Martinsville in the Folgers Ford at 93.171, alongside is Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Buick car number 26. In the 2nd row, it's Darrell Waltrip in the Western Auto Chevrolet car number 17, and alongside, 2nd in points, 2-time winner here at Martinsville, Ricky Rudd from Chesapeake, Virginia in the Tide Chevrolet number 5. Then Dale Earnhardt, the points leader in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet, and Alan Kowicki in the Hooters Ford car number 7. Going to row number 4, it is Rusty Wallace from St. Louis, Missouri, in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac car number 2, and Kyle Petty in the Mellow Yellow Pontiac car number 42. In the 5th row, you'll find Ken Schrader in the number 25 Kodiak Chevrolet, and Morgan Shepherd in the Motorcraft Ford car number 15. The 6th row consists of Bobby Hamilton, one of the rookie candidates in the Country Time Oldsmobile car number 68, and then Harry Gantt in the Skull Bandit Oldsmobile car number 33. As Harry goes
So we got Harry Gantt starting 12. He's got a bit of work to get to the lead, but as we learned with this car, it's not about being fast over one lap. It's about being consistent over many laps, which this car was. The longer it ran, the better it got.
The Martinsville Speedway is just a little over a half-mile in length. The pole speed was 93.171 at a time of 20.324 seconds. We'll go 500 laps, and the field is separated by just a little more than 1/2 second. The pits are on both the front stretch and the back stretch here at Martinsville. And as Ned told you, the first 16 will be on the front stretch and the rest of the field on the back stretch. In turns number 1 and 2, the banking is at 12 degrees, not much of a bank. And in turns 3 and 4 also, the turns are banked at 12 degrees. And the banking on the straightaway, well, there is none. Set for 500 laps of competition.
Got a packed house? Let's drop the green flag and get this race started.
The green flag is out.
Mark Martin gets away clean and holds the lead for the first 13 laps. And now we got Ricky Rudd taking the lead from Mark Martin. But look out, here comes Brett Bodine. That's right, I said, look out, here comes Brett Bodine. I know, many say, oh, he's only good at driving a pace car. And there's some who even question that. But today, he had a very good car.
Picks up those 5 bonus points that Benny Parsons was talking about. Very important.
That reduces the advantage to 31 points now that separate first and second in the Winston Cup battle.
And Brett Bodine's car is flying. Look as he tries to get under Rudd coming off the corner. I think he has it.
Boy, that car got a good bite coming off of turn 4, and into the lead he goes. Normally, it's not that easy to pass here at Martinsville.
Lap 26, we got Alan Kowicki now moving in to take the lead from Brett Bodine.
Third is Dale Earnhardt, fourth is Rusty Wallace, and fifth is Ricky Rudd.
Here goes Kowicki.
Yep. And Kowicki drives around Brett Bodine to become our 3rd leader in the first 26 laps of this race. With the first yellow flying here at Martinsville on lap number 45 because of debris on the racetrack, we have a lot of pit activity.
Restart at lap 50. Chad Little is now the leader, who chose not to pit during that yellow flag. But here comes Brett Bodine again.
Getting to lead some race, get some television time. Not a bad discussion.
I'm impressed by Brett Bodine's pit stop because there's been a lot of shakeup over at the Kenny Bernstein team. I thought the pit stop would be bad today from that 26 car, but here he is now taking the lead. Down in turn 3, here comes Kowicki, Rusty Wallace. So Brett Bodine's crew beat all those cars off pit road.
Caution number 2. for a spinner, lap 63. You got Chad Little, who stayed out in that last caution to get some exposure in the lead. Now he's getting a different type of exposure by spinning.
Stay in the lead lap. Elliott does get his going. Chad Little with some damage to the left front of his car gets going. They'll both stay in the lead lap.
We are set to go back to green. The crowd rises to its feet. The green flag flies on lap number 70 with Brett Bodine in front, followed by Alan Kowicki. There's Harry Gantt going for 4 wins in a row at 51 years of age.
And I'll tell you, he looks like he's in good shape there today. Not only he personally, as far as his physical condition, but that race car looks pretty good. Sitting there running in 6th place, just sort of biding his time. That's what he's done the last 3 races. He didn't charge up there at the front at the beginning of the race. He just sat there and let him beat and bang, and when the time came, he went.
And this is the same race car that he's won those 3 with. They've used the same car in Darlington, Richmond, and at Dover last week, and brought the same car here to Martinsville this week.
Third caution of the race out at Martinsville on lap number 89 because of a 2-car spin down in turn number 4. Now the original car to spin was Ken Schrader. Remember, we were talking about how he was trying to hang on to 10th position. Coming out of turn number 4, that's Schrader spinning and causing everyone to scatter.
Got a restart at lap 92. Dale Jarrett, who was caught up in that spin that brought off the caution, he stays out to try to get his lap back. You now have Jimmy Spencer in a 98 car in the lead. All the leaders pitted under that caution. So I'm not sure how he got the lead, if he stayed out or if he only took 2 tires. But there is Mr. Excitement in the lead.
Chad Little
and there's trouble.
Up in turn number 2, Davey Allison is against the wall in turn 2 because the flag is green once again, and Jimmy Spencer leads him down for the restart. Back at Martinsville, and as you can see, we are slowed for a caution again. You can try so hard to time your brakes so that we catch all the action, and we're not having a very good batting average so far today, as during that last commercial break, Ricky Rudd spun coming off of turn number 2 and now heads for pit road, bringing out our 5th caution flag of the afternoon.
Oh, and Ricky on the brakes, and the 24 car, Jimmy Hensley, taps the 5 cars that come off the corner.
And fix it, but as you see, the race is back underway, so they've got to grin and bear it.
And I would imagine the toe end was knocked out when he hit the curve, don't you imagine, Benny?
That's true. That curve that we saw, Jerry Clutch did his piece at the beginning of the show, that yellow curve on the inside, these fellas go in, and if they hit that curve too hard to that left front, they are going to tow the car in or out.
Spencer continues to lead, and Harry Gantt, who's in 3rd position.
And there's old Rusty Wallace. Watch Harry, he checks 11th at lap 25, then 7th, 6th, and now at lap 122, Harry's up to 3rd spot.
As Rusty Wallace makes the move by Jimmy Spencer.
Here's how Rusty got the lead. Now, talk about patience. This is patience. Rusty had been back there in 2nd position for a long time, saw the moment, the opportunity he needed, and zoomed.
That's Ernie Irvan.
Another caution period. Here's Irvan trying to get down on the racetrack and get going and save a lap, but he's not going to be able to do so as Rusty comes down to take the checkered flag.
The yellow flag, but that's okay.
Yeah. Back at Martinsville, Virginia, where the field is under caution behind the pace car. The leader of the race is Dale Earnhardt. He stayed out there to make sure he picked up those 5 bonus points for leading here this afternoon. Now, green out again. Earnhardt is your leader.
And Ernie Irvan trying to get a lap back. He beats Earnhardt into the first turn. He has the inside groove. He's going to come out in front of Earnhardt. So he needs a caution now. And he has fresh tires. Dale Earnhardt did not make a pit stop during this caution.
And look at Rusty pulls up and goes on the inside of Earnhardt and says, "See you, Dale."
Well, I'll tell you, those new tires really make a difference, don't they? And Richard Petty and Ricky Rudd get together in turn 1.
Ricky Rudd in trouble. He was running 23rd when he and Richard Petty. Now Petty's got a fire in his car. Flame coming from the underside of the car. Richard spins it in the middle of the backstretch.
Richard Petty may be thinking, hey, maybe it's not hurt too bad. I can drive it back to the pits. Good grief, I'm on fire. What the? Spin it. Spin it.
From underneath the car, and then he spins around, spins sideways at least, and then back the other way, and that's on the backstretch.
Rusty, the green flag. Indeed, green flag is out. Race resumes. Rusty Wallace at the front of the field with now Harry Gantt running in second position.
Look at the top of the screen here, and you'll see a train passing by as a race is going on. How cool is that? I don't know. There's something cool about it.
Corner of your screen, you will see a Norfolk Southern train going by.
It took 196 laps, but Harry Gantt has now taken the lead.
Part of the race, and now Harry Gantt does go for the lead as he comes down to complete lap number 196, and look at this crowd.
They are going nuts as the old guy, well, I shouldn't say that, but the old guy has taken the lead at Martinsville.
It's 1991, and the woo, woo, woo is in full effect. I blame you, Arsenio Hall.
Fan, I should say. 1982, Harry Gantt won his first race at Martinsville. Look at the car.
He hit somebody.
I think that damage on the car was foreshadowing of what's going to happen today.
He looks a little bit younger in that picture. And a spin coming up for is Davey Allison as he's into the inside wall.
In 1991, my favorite driver, Davey Allison. But man, oh man, was he having a tough day.
Yellow flag is out for the 8th time this afternoon.
Oh, I see. There is some contact between the two cars right there. I didn't see that the first time by.
Restart lap 215. Harry Gantt still in the lead. Rusty Wallace running second. Harry Gantt's car is so good, you begin to question cars running behind him as if there's something wrong with those cars because they can't keep up.
By a little bit.
Rusty Wallace all of a sudden is off the pace, Bob. It looks like he's lost a cylinder to me. The two car is definitely off the pace.
Caution number 9 as Sterling Marlin spins and stalls on the track.
And here is the green flag. As we resume competition, Ricky Rudd is trying to get his lap back. And I don't believe he's going to be able to do it as Harry Gantt on the outside line takes the advantage. Oh, big trouble. Crash over in turn 2, just out of turn 2. Jimmy Spencer and Joe Ruttman are the cars involved. A lot of damage on the Ruttman car.
Ruttman and the 98 car running side by side. They get together. Jimmy spins. Now Joe spins, and they meet again as they come off the second corner.
Restart at lap 283. Harry Gantt still in the lead. Rusty Wallace running second.
DW's car just not right. And now tell you what, Mark Martin cut across the corner, the front of Darrell Walton's racetrack. And a spin. The 8 car is spun. The 10 car up in turns 1 and 2. Rick Wilson, we saw.
No caution.
No yellow yet.
Hut Strickland was involved in it. There's Derek Cope trying to get back out on the racetrack. He's pulling out in front of cars, and the yellow is out now.
The green waves and the Goody 500 is back under racing conditions.
Ricky Rudd still trying to get his lap back, but he's not going to do it this time as Harry Gantt is taking off once again.
Now they've got a spin coming off the second corner as caution does come out now.
Bobby Hamilton and Gary Cope were the boys involved in that spin. Ricky Rudd is up there every time trying to get that lap back, but hasn't yet.
Harry Gantt got a break that time because Brett Bodine had to pass Rudd on the outside. Gantt was able to get down on the inside right away, and we can see a 2-car length advantage just for that one simple move down on the foot.
I spoke to Eddie Dixon a minute ago with the Rusty Wallace crew, and they said, we have been saving our brakes, but when Harry Gantt began to pull away, we got a problem. Car number 8 apparently has lost the wheel. Rick Wilson's car crashing, and we'll have the caution come back out.
Got a restart here on lap 376. Everything looks normal. Harry Gantt pulling away again. Rusty's staying a little close. Oh, Rusty's looking on the inside. What's he? What the? Rusty! What the? Oh, God, no! You bum! Rusty! You've ruined it for Harry Gantt.
Now Ricky Rudd beats Earnhardt back to the line.
And Rudd finally gets his lap back that he's been trying to do almost all.
Fellas, there's a lot of cars. Morgan Shepherd has problems. I think that might have been smoke from Dale Earnhardt's car with Henry Rudd rubbing together. Morgan Shepherd got banged into something up there. And Hut Strickland got banged again. Of course, we saw Derek Cope involved, so a lot of cars involved here.
Look at Harry Gantt's car smoking. There's no way he can win this race. It's so over. It couldn't be more over if you had an electrified it's over machine. Wait, that made no sense. Boys, pack up the bags. Pack up all the gear. Pack up the pits. It's over. Harry Gantt, not going to win 4 in a row. Can't do it.
Well, the crew has a lot of work to do as you see the front of what's left of the front of Harry Gantt's Skull Oldsmobile. They're trying to peel some of the sheet metal away to get a look at the chassis parts, and if it's mostly cosmetic, that's not a problem, because as you saw before, Harry has won here at Martinsville with a pretty torn-up race car. They pull the sheet metal away, they'll send him back out to keep him losing a lap. He'll come back in here momentarily for him to use the air chisel to pull some more away and get a look at that right front.
Looks like that right front tire is going south and the car is going north. I mean, there's pretty heavy damage to that car. So Harry Gantt will not win his 4th in a row, I'm sad to say.
You said it, BP. The Skull Bandit car, it's been killed. Long live the Bandit.
And gets the nose up alongside of Gant. Gant starts to make his normal turn into the turn, and they touch, and around Gant goes to the outside, and then everybody starts banging into each other back behind them.
And there we can see the car coming out of the pits, and there's a piece of aluminum.
Yep, runs over his own debris. Well, they're trying to keep him on the lead lap and have been successful in doing so far.
How bad is the car hurt, Andy?
I can't really tell. We'll find out in a minute and see how it runs. Well, I don't even know what happened over there.
Andy Petrie is upset. What's even worse, he trips on his way back to pit wall. Just watch him as he looks back like, what is that?
So they're talking to Harry Gantt, and they have pulled a lot of the sheet metal.
Probably debris from Harry Gantt's car just laying there. Like, what the? I just turned my ankle. Could this day get any worse?
Ernie Irvan has taken the lead in this race. And with Ricky Rudd now back in the lead lap, Bob, there are 13 cars on the lead lap once again.
Here's the green flag. We're back underway. Mark Martin is second, followed by Terry Labonte, Kyle Petty, and Jimmy Hensley. Now, look at Wallace and Gant all trying to work up through some slower traffic.
Morgan Shepherd there in car number 15.
Okay, maybe I over-exaggerated. Our 33 car wasn't killed. I don't know. He's still got a lot of work ahead of him. I mean, he just passed Rusty Wallace, but long way to go to get to the front.
Harry is going to be able to pass Ricky Rudd.
Yeah, he'll get on the inside of Hamilton, and that gives him the line he wanted.
Passes Hamilton with ease. Harry Gantt has not yet moved into the top 10, but he's close. He's 11th. Rusty's 12th.
Rudd, the last car on the lead lap there.
This is during the commercial break, but we're watching the satellite feed, so we can still hear the announcers. Listen as Beanie realizes, you know what? I may have written Harry Gantt off just a little too soon.
Harry had a good race car today, didn't he? Yep. He might even come back and win this thing.
I'm not sure he's out of it.
Yeah, I think I might have wrote him off a little too soon.
He's half a lap down now and closing. He's about to go into 9th. The Kodak film Chevy, driven by Ernie Irvan, is leading this race. Here is the battle for 9th position. Harry Gantt to the inside of Ken Schrader. Harry goes to 9th position. Don't count him out.
I do believe I might have wrote this fellow off just a little bit too soon,
but he's not going to quit.
He sure is, and as a matter of fact, when he passed Schrader there, he moved into 8th position.
Harry Gantt had the folks on their feet as he passed Kyle Petty down the spot. I don't think it's tires that need so much right now, it's distance, because he's about straightaway, a little over a straightaway behind Ernie Irvan, and I don't think he can make it up on the racetrack. He needs a caution flag to close the field up.
He's doing a pretty good job of it. Look at him go inside of Dale Earnhardt.
And the fans love it.
Oh, do they? Harry's coming, no doubt about it. That puts him in 6th position. And Harry Gantt, we'll see if Harry can get this spot. Yep, he does. He's 5th now. Now here is the lap times comparing Irvan and Gant. And Gant is faster.
He is faster. We can see he's gained almost 1 second in 5 laps.
Win commercial. But here comes Harry Gantt. You got Brett Bodine, who is now running 2nd. Mark Martin's in 3rd. Sterling Marlin's in 4th. Marlin's about to put the move on Mark Martin to move into 3rd. But here comes Harry Gantt, who's also going to get past Mark Martin to move into 4th position.
You're right. I thought he had a flat tire.
Yeah.
Yep, He's got him. He has got him. Wow, this is unbelievable. I crossed Harry Gantt off. I said he's not going to win 4 in a row. And I don't know. He just might still do it.
Yeah, he has time.
The one thing about the 33 car that worked to his advantage, long green flag runs, because they could take care of their tires better than anyone. And this would be the longest of the day at 95 laps.
This is unbelievable.
And there are 65 laps to go, so yeah, he does have the time.
This race was a good illustration of why so many people love Benny Parsons. His passion for the sport was contagious.
I mean, they are absolutely on their feet watching every inch that Harry Gantt goes around the racetrack, as I am. This is exciting.
Brett Bodine is going to try Ernie Irvan on the outside for the lead. Bodine will get the lead going down the backstretch. Let's see what happens in turn 3.
Look at Harry Gantt. Look at this.
Bodine has the lead. Let's see if Harry can get second.
Yeah, he's going to move up on the outside. Irvan just gives them the running room up there they need. His tires have gone away. I think he realizes that they're faster, so he says, I'll just have to let them go. I can't race with them right.
What a story we are seeing develop here this afternoon in Martinsville.
To these poor people paid $50, $40 for a seat. Sit down, people. Man, oh man.
Harry Gantt is second.
If Brett Bodine wins this race, the fans will boo him to death.
And undeservedly, because he's...
Well, I don't know about that, Bob Jenkins. It may be deserved.
We're yelling about Harry Gantt, but Brett Bodine has driven us. And looky here, Harry Gantt is on the inside.
It with ease. He just shoots by that Quaker State Buick and goes into the lead. Harry Gantt is in front again, friends.
So here comes Brett back. He's trying it on the inside. Yes.
Oh, Harry is sideways again.
What the? Those dang Bodines.
One spot. Boy, Harry's getting knocked around out there and still fights back.
As ESPN goes to commercial, we're still watching the satellite feed, so we'll get a chance to see Harry Gantt pass Brett Bodine again for the lead.
That will be the last time today that anyone... We sure did. Wouldn't you know it?
I mean, just listen to Benny Parsons. He's beside himself up there just laughing. He cannot believe Harry Gantt has taken this beaten and battered car from 13th all the way back to the lead under a green flag at Martinsville.
Man, the car's still getting fired up the turns down the inside. It's just...
Yep, folks, it happened. Harry Gantt passed Brett Bodine while we were in break, and Harry now begins to move away from Bodine, and Harry Gantt is in the lead, and he's still working as hard as he's worked all afternoon, sawing that wheel in there. Rooting for Harry Gantt, and he's moving away now, guys.
He is clearly by far the fastest car on the racetrack. I mean, this is not the easiest racetrack in the world to pass. I mean, it's a flat racetrack, about 12 degrees. We showed you that at the beginning. It's hard to pass. You can see how easy it is to pass on the inside and you have that preferred groove. But Harry Gantt started last.
Yep.
And passed all the cars to go to the front and is driving away. What do you think, Ned? Did we have got the job done at 33 today?
Well, you know, the way that thing looked in the first 350 laps, if you'd like to feel, yeah, we can still do that. But then after the crash, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have won from where he started, but I don't think I can start it at the rear and went to the front like Harry Gantt.
Boy, it's been exciting.
You're not getting any ideas, are you, Benny? You still got that driver's uniform on.
It's barely zipping up, though, Bob, I'll tell you that. I did have too many tomato sandwiches along the way.
Historically, we'll probably have another caution period in this race, which is going to bunch the field again and create some more interest. But if we don't, it appears as if, and if his car can hold together, it appears as if Gant will pull off his 4th straight win.
And they can go the rest of the way, Bob, on fuel. They should not have to make another pit stop. Darrell Waltrip just did make a pit stop, though, which maybe was unscheduled, but he came in for a change of right side tires on the Western Auto Chevrolet.
Then we saw Richard Petty 30th. He has been back. Oh, you're talking, Bob, you said something about a caution flag? There it is. There's Morgan Chevy.
effort.
Is that Bob Jenkins up in the booth, or is that Kreskin?
The caution is out.
And the Skoll crew, the critical pit stop for them. They will have to beat the Quaker State crew here if they can. Love Guster already off the left side for the Gant car. 26 on the bottom of your screen. He comes to a stop in the crew now. Clyde Booth and the rest of the Bernstein crew going to work on that machine. Now they are all the way down toward turn one. Harry Gant's crew has already changed the right side tires. He's putting the left side tires on. Now left side of the Gant is off the jack, and he is headed down pit road. The jack is going up on the left side of the Brett Bodine car, so Gant will once again beat him back to turn one. Great pit work, guys.
Here's the crowd on its feet, waving, cheering. Harry Gantt, green flag, out once again.
Dale Earnhardt accelerated, ran in the back of Brett Bodine about to start finish line, but backed off with no damage to either car.
Boy, the crowd is just waiting to explode. They're already shaking their fists and waving. Here's Gant with the white flags. One more lap to go for 51-year-old Harry Gantt and his 4th consecutive Winston Cup win. We have seen history made here this afternoon, and what Harry has done. He puts the car into turn number 3. He now sees the checkered flag from Doyle Ford. Here it is. Gant wins the Goodies 500.
How good was Harry Gantt in September of 1991? Not only did he win 4 Cup races in a row, he won the 2 Busch Series races that month as well.
Here's Jerry Punch.
We're waiting for Harry Gantt, and they're celebrating in the grass. And let's check in the Gant pit where they're also celebrating with John Curran standing. John?
I tell you, Jerry, they picked up Andy Petrie, the crew chief, and just spun him around. Looked like an airplane right there. Well-deserved. You guys just a heck of a comeback after that wreck with him.
Man, I don't know what to say. I'm just speechless right now. I tell you, I can't say enough about the job Harry did out there today. And the guys, the crew, what a job they did getting that car back. Man, I'm speechless. What about that, Harry Gantt, huh?
That's about all you can say, guys. Life truly does begin at 51. High fives all the way around down here in the pits.
4th consecutive win, 16th Winston Cup career win. And Harry Gantt has won 5 races in 1991. Well, you're going to hear quite a bit of applause when this young man gets out of his car here in just a moment, because the fans are going to go crazy. Here's Jerry Punch in victory lane.
And a big smile from Harry Gantt, Handsome Harry, they call him. Indeed, it fits. And Harry, after a nice cold drink, congratulations on a tremendous, unbelievable run.
Yeah, thank you. The car was just super all day. We could run longer on the tires, it seemed like, than anybody else. And unfortunate there, Rusty got a little over anxious car. I was just tooling around there, and I thought he was too. And I didn't think he was going to try to run by me, like that. So then Brett, we got together. But the old car came in there, passed him all back.
Harry Gantt once said he was a better carpenter than he was a race car driver. Well, he was a pretty good race car driver, so he must have been the Sam Maloof of carpentry. Google it.
Because all I had to do is keep in mind not to wear the tires out. Just take my time, When I started backing off, I started catching them real easy then. And, we had perfect tires. We were set to go all the way there at the end. We didn't need the last caution.
Harry, 4 in a row and 5 to go. Can you do it?
I don't know. We just keep trying.
Harry Gantt almost made it 5 in a row, leading 350 laps at North Wilkesboro before he started having brake issues while in the lead, and in the final laps, Dale Earnhardt would pass him.
Harry is not getting off those turns the way he was. I think you picked it right, didn't you? I think he does have a little bit of a push coming off the turns. Boy, that'll slow you down some. Now Earnhardt gets underneath him.
Oh, and they touch coming off the 4th turn. Gant maintaining the lead with 9 laps to go.
Well, here's Earnhardt on the outside.
He's going to try it on the outside in turn number 2. He pulls alongside of Harry Gantt. Earnhardt and Gantt are side by side, and Earnhardt gets the lead.
Man, oh man.
But Gantt comes back on the inside. Let's see if, Harry is driving the car as hard as he can. He has it sideways off the 4th turn.
First time that Harry Gantt has been passed in how long?
Oh, boy. A long time.
And Dale Earnhardt has passed Harry Gantt with just, 9 laps to go?
9 laps to go, and now they were coming up on...
Harry Gantt would finish second, but no one would ever forget that magical September of 1991. And that will do it for this In the Spotlight. Harry Gantt, life begins at 51.
Nice while it lasted, though, for Harry Gantt.
It was. But what a